my Etsy store and I've uploaded one photo, but I've got this error message saying that it's not the right dimension, so I need to definitely fix that. I need to add more photos because it's always a good idea to have, you know, as many photos as possible, but at least I have one. So let me go ahead and enter the title. Dragonfly charm bracelet set, comma, gemstone bracelets, comma, crystal bead bracelets. That'll do for now. I'll have to come back and add some more. Who made it? I did. What is it? It's a finished product. When did you make it? I think I made it last year sometime. I just haven't had a chance to upload it to my Etsy store. And it's a beaded bracelet. Beaded bracelet. Okay. All right. Now it's for women. Bead material. All right. So I know that that's a gemstone. I think it's agate, but I'm not sure. But I think it's a gemstone, and I know that this is a crystal. So I'm going to check off crystal. I'm going to check off gemstone, and I've got, let's see, what else do I have here? It's probably, I would say, the brass components, silver toned brass components, but I'm not sure. And these could be pewter, but I'm not sure. But let's see, is there a pewter option here? I don't see pewter option. But anyway, I did check off brass. Choose the gemstone. Well, that's a problem because I don't remember what kind of gemstone this is. It's crackle. It's a crackle finish, but I think it's agate, but I'm not sure. I don't even know the size. They look to be a little bit larger than 6 millimeters, but according to this, they're 8 millimeters. So at least I know that. I don't know the size of these crystals though. That's a problem because I would like to put as much detail as I can into the descriptions, and especially these charms. I think these are bargain bead box charms. Of course, I'm not going to put bargain bead box in the description, but I would like to put a little bit of information about, you know, what they're made out of. So that's a problem because I don't have that right now. These are just some old bracelets that I haven't had a chance to upload to my Etsy store. And I definitely don't know the color of these gemstones because there's a couple of colors here. There's fuchsia, there's purple, there's lavender. Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. My name's Luisa. Has that ever happened to you? It used to happen to me all the time, way in the beginning, but I found a solution. That was just a little act. I just wanted to show you what I used to go through until I figured out a way around it. So today I'd like to show you a couple of tips so that you don't run into the same problems that I ran into. Some of you probably already have your own system, and that's okay. You know, we can all learn from each other. I would like you to still watch this video because you never know, you could learn something from me. But I wanted to show you some tips because I know that's a common problem. You get some beads, you put them aside, you don't touch them for a while, and then you pull them out when you decide to make something. And it could be 1 month, it could be 2 months, it could be 6 months from the time you receive them. It could even be as long as a year by the time you sit down and make something with those beads. And then if you haven't labeled them, you're not going to remember where you purchased them from, what color they are, what size, what material, what kind of gemstone, what kind of bead it is. It's very easy to do. I've done it many, many times in the past, and I've learned how to prevent that from happening by coming up with a system of my own. And like I said, I know you probably have your own system, but prior to this, I used to sit down and handwrite every single label, and that was very painful for me. So anyway, I want to share with you a couple of tips that hopefully it'll help you in your journey as a jewelry maker, and let's get started. Okay, so here I am. I'm at my workstation, and let me go ahead and turn my camera down so that you can see what I'm doing here. All right, so as you can see, I've got my packages lined up. I've got the project that I'm working on, so I'm going to remove that and get a fresh bead tray with nothing on it. Okay, so here's my bead tray, and here are my beautiful packages. It's like Christmas. You recognize this one? Bargain bead box, that's right. But I am not going to open it yet. I'm going to wait because this one definitely feels like Christmas, and I'm going to leave that till last. So let's go ahead and open one of these up. Okay, let's see what's in it. All right. Looks like I received some beautiful check beads, some 4mm beads and some 6mm beads. And let's see where it's from. Golden Age beads. So there are only 2 items on this receipt. Now I keep my receipts because I have a business, and so it's important that I file my paperwork away. But if you don't have a business, then you don't have to worry about the next step. So I'm going to show you the next step, which is very important. And like I said, you know, those of you who own businesses will need to file this away. Now this receipt only has 2 items on it, so it's pretty easy, but there are times when I get a receipt with 20, 30, and even up to 40 items. But I'm going to show you what I go through whenever I get a receipt, because like I said, I have to keep my receipts for my business paperwork. So if you're fortunate enough to own a multi-function printer, that's great. If you don't own one, I feel bad for you because I have used it so many times. But whatever you do, you need to make a copy. If you have a business, you cannot use your original receipt, okay? You should keep your original receipt and then make a copy of it. Now, if you don't have a business, you can go ahead and use the original receipt, but I'm going to go ahead and make a copy of mine so that I can keep it for my paperwork. All right, so here I go. I'm just going to make a copy. This will take a few seconds. All right, so here's my copy, and here's my original. My original gets filed away, and the copy is the one that I'm going to work with. All right, so once you've got your copy made, get your materials and get them out of the bag or the packaging. Now this is what I ordered. I ordered some 4mm beads. They're going to go right back into this big bag like this. And then these, I'm probably going to combine them because I don't need 2 bags. Alright, so I've combined them into one bag. These are beautiful. These are 6mm rosebud mix check glass. Real pretty. So I have my 2 bags. Alright, and then the most important thing is this paper cutter. I cannot live without my paper cutter. You simply put your copy in there, line it up, and we're going to go ahead and cut each item out. You want to cut the whole thing. You want to cut the entire strip. The description, the item number, the number of beads, the cost. Cut each one out. And that's really all you need. You don't need any of the other information. I mean, you could, if you wanted to, write down the source, but generally speaking, if these items are still available, you can actually go into Google and put in this item number and it'll pop up. It'll show you where you got it from. So the next thing you do, very simply, you take a look. These are the 25 beads. There are 2 packages. It's actually 50 beads of the 6mm rosebud mix. Fold it up, real tiny, just like this. And then put it inside the bag, just like that. So that the next time you go to use these, you'll know exactly what they are. Same thing with the other one. Fold it up, just like that. Stick it in the bag, and you're done. And as you can see, I have a whole bunch of other beads that I've labeled the same way. Okay, so now the next step is to put them away in their storage. Now prior to this, I used to sit down and actually have to write out each description of each item one by one, and it was very time consuming, and I absolutely hated it. I really did, because there was a lot of information that I had to fit on a little sticky, and then I would get the little sticky and put it inside the baggie, and that's what I used to do, and it was just way too time consuming. And then of course, after you label them, then the next challenge is to file them away, and that's a whole different ball game. Filing my beads or storing my beads is a challenge on its own, because you know, it's just so much easier to just dump them on the table like this. As you can see, I have all kinds of beads that I need to put away in my storage, but that's another challenge on its own, and so I'll have to figure out some time to where I can sit down and do that. But I don't really have a system. I've done a video on this before, but you know, basically I have the bins that I use a lot are the ones that I label. And if I have some items that I don't use very much, like for instance the 2mm bicones, for instance, or 2mm or smaller, I will put them in one bin. I'll just combine them into one bin. And then, you know, if I have, for instance, here's a bin that contains miscellaneous clasps. Well, that includes lobster clasps, but it also includes magnetic clasps. But I do have one that has toggle clasps, and I have that separate because I have so many of those that they basically needed their own bin, even though I don't use them as much anymore. But at some point what I'll do is I'll just you know, take them out of these bins and put them into a different kind of storage. Under my table I have other kinds of storage. I have bigger bins, and these are items that I don't use as much, so I put them underneath there. But the ones that I use on a daily basis I put up here so they're readily accessible, as you can see. So that's a challenge. So yeah, you know, the next challenge is to figure out what bin to put them in. So for instance, this one is easy because these are 5mm bicones. I don't have a lot of 5mm bicones, so what I do is I stick them in with a 6mm because they're bigger than 4, obviously. So, you know, as long as it's labeled, I'll know what size they are. And other things like these rounds, 4mm rounds, well, I have a whole bunch of them, and of course I have a whole bin of these. But I don't sort by color because I just find it easier to find my items if I sort them by type. So like jump rings and eye pins, that actually should read eye pins and head pins. So I need to change that label because I have other bins, like for instance, there's some head pins in silver, and then I believe right below that, oh no, those are bicones. It's not in any order, but over here you'll see head pins in mixed colors. But it's a bit of a mess right now. It's not in any kind of order right now because I've been going kind of crazy making pieces, and I haven't had a chance to sort my storage bins out. But these labels change all the time. I never keep them the same. They're always changing depending on what I'm working on and depending on what kind of items I use on a regular basis. So it's very dynamic. And the one thing that I did want to show you guys that I think you're going to appreciate is my new caddy for my pliers. So before I got this caddy, which is actually a dental tool caddy, I used to put my pliers on this kind of a storage compartment thingamajig. I don't know what you call this. So then I got this caddy, and I loved it because, you know, I just stick them in there. I don't have to worry about putting them in the little holes there. I just grab my pliers and shove them on top. But some of my pliers are really long, so I went ahead and just propped it on top of this, which is a little bit slanted, so they're kind of angled and I can get a better view. And yeah, this worked out really, really well. I really like this idea, and I like it because it's easy, and I just put them in there, whenever I need one. And these are the ones that I use often. And then I've got some other ones over here that I don't use as often, so they reside over here in the corner. But the ones that I use all the time, I keep right here so that they're handy. Well, what do you think, Boo Boo? Should we open the bargain bead box envelope? You want to play with some new beads? I love my cat, and he loves my beads, and I can't wait to open this envelope. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. Anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. I know it was kind of short. I am going to be putting together a tutorial for a necklace. I'm going to work on that in the next few days, so please look out for that. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.